Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to thank all of our witnesses for being here today. I am a member from Massachusetts, but I don't represent a district that has fishing as part of its backbone of its economy. But I very much appreciate how much our fishing families are a cornerstone of our state's economic and cultural foundation, with a grit and determination so reflective of the New England spirit. And yesterday we did get word that NOAA will be allocating nearly $33 million in federal aid for New England fishermen. This much needed assistance will support the hardworking men and women and their local economies that were hard hit in the wake of a federally declared economic disaster, and we are grateful for that much needed assistance. As I've attended these hearings, though, I know we all have similar goals for the Magnuson-Stevenson reauthorization. We all want to implement a regulatory framework that results in healthy, sustainable fish stocks, vibrant fishing communities that can support our fishing families. And I know in Massachusetts, there are a variety of views as to how best to proceed. I have serious concerns that the draft bill we are discussing today, however, overwhelmingly favors short-term economic management decisions over long-term economic and environmental sustainability. And from what you all are saying, I think we have different views depending on what part of the country you come from. More success on the West Coast, the East Coast has greater challenges to overcome. So in your opinion, and I'd like to start with Mr. Shelley, what provisions should be included in any reauthorization so that we can best improve, and you may have different opinions, the sustainability and long-term optimum yield? And I'd like to start with you. And if you could just come up with 2 or 3 that you think are just key.
Thank you, Representative. I think the key thing that the reauthorization has to focus on is climate change and the fact that it is going to disrupt virtually every fishery in the United States in the near term. And it's already showing up in New England. And long-term sustainability is going to require us to confront the fact that this is coming, that it will affect fisheries. Some of them will become more profitable, some of them will become less. There'll be all sorts of changes. But the reauthorization could really benefit that critical debate by laying out some provisions that would advance ecosystem-based fisheries management, push the management system in the direction that the scientists are recommending it needs to be pushed to make it more robust to withstand these ecological forces that are coming our way.
Could others comment?
If I can just comment quickly, Representative Tsongas, and I don't disagree at all with what Mr. Shelley said, but I think one of the things that's critical to us, and I think actually if you drill down and look into problems in New England, and I have many friends in the fishing fleet from there, is that a big part of our problem is we've never adequately provided for the science that we need. We've been trying to manage on science that either is outdated at times, other times it just isn't comprehensive enough. It doesn't look at the total range of a stock, not to mention then the problem you have if people then choose to ignore the science. So I think really we're going to have to figure out, and from your state, Senator Kerry, when he was in the Senate, and Senator Snow basically started to tackle that issue when they were looking at earmarking Saltonstall-Kennedy Act funds specifically for fishery research. We've got to find a funding source that can be outside of the normal appropriations, and that's why we've suggested perhaps looking at a trust fund. But to come up with a separate funding source, and not just for the science. That could help underwrite such things as helping fishermen develop more selective gear. It could help with, say, even helping underwrite such things as catch insurance. And finally, looking at providing the money for disaster relief, because I watched and read the Gloucester papers and all the others in New England, and watched how long it took before that, and it was shaky how long it took to get that disaster money to fishermen. If we had a fund that was there when we needed it, I think would make a lot more sense.
Comments from others?
I might just add, there's two important key components that may not have enough emphasis in the current act. One is paying attention to critical forage species, which is really all forage fish. These are the species that provide the basic beginnings of the food web, and if we don't pay attention to those stocks, they really risk, we risk jeopardizing many commercially and sport fishing important species. Also, the concept of ecosystem-based management, which is taking root and ever so critical that we understand all the inner workings of ecosystem-based management, is probably underemphasized in the current act and may need strengthening.
Time of the gentlelady
Thank you.
has expired.
Thank you.
Jim,